mean, there was fans there all the way from when the doors opened at 5:30 that, the whole night was themed around Kipper. There was a large Kipper replica mask you could get a picture in front of. There's all sorts of banners all over the dome. Like you said, it was a family reunion. I think we're going back to arguably probably the most important guy in Flames history, potentially, maybe the guy who saved this franchise. And I think the run of this team that everybody remembers fondly. And it's like you said, it's like a family reunion to go back that far. It was amazing to see old friends, old colleagues, and Flames fans, young, old, celebrating this player together. I haven't heard it that loud in a long time. I think the playoff run against Edmonton was the last time I was there that it was that loud, but it was amazing to hear. And even just, hearing the ovation for guys like Dion Phaneuf and Rhett Warrener. I mean, I don't think Rhett Warrener ever had that much applause for himself. It was amazing.
Robin Regier as well. Of course, Lanny McDonald, of course, Kiprusoff, the fourth Flame to have their jersey retired. Lanny McDonald, who unfortunately could not be there. All the best to Lanny McDonald.
He's sick when he's not there. Like Lanny's there for everything.
Yeah. Yes, he really is. And then you had Jerome McGinley, who was there last night, and Mike Verdon, who was there last night. And I think, one of the things that you talked about there about the 2004 run, like I was around for the 86 run. I was around for the 89 run. And for me, I think that one of the differences was the 86 and the 89 sort of had some expectations around what this team was going to be. I mean, you had, of course, some pretty significant trades in 1986, the Joe Mullen trade, the John Tonelli trade, the Nick Fotiu trade. And in the 1989, of course, you had they came off a President's Trophy year in 1988, and then you had 1989. You had another President's Trophy year. That was when you win the President's Trophy, you won the Stanley Cup kind of era. And there was sort of those teams were loaded. 2004, it was sort of, you're coming off the 1990s where it was
the Young Guns era. The one
was the worst era of Flames history. Of course, you had the Young Guns era, which was a complete failure. Other than the fact that you ended up with Jerome McGinley, it really didn't come out. And we had to save our Flames campaign. The Flames were close to moving. There was a lot of talk around that Canadian teams at that point, the only two Canadian teams that were doing really well financially at that time were Toronto and Montreal. Edmonton was having their problems. Vancouver was having problems. Of course, the Winnipeg Jets, let's not forget, moved in the 90s to Atlanta at the time, and the Ottawa Senators were just growing some really...
The Nordiques moved too.
What's that?
The Nordiques moved too.
Right, that's right. The Quebec Nordiques became the Colorado Avalanche and won the Stanley Cup. And then you also had during that era in Patrick Roy leaving for Montreal to Colorado as well. So there was a lot of things. And so that not only for Calgary, I think that 2004 run, I remember the stories of flags being Flames flags in Quebec, Ontario, all across Canada. It sort of became...
I remember that at the time, the Flames jersey, that was one of the first years they wore that Black Sea, became the highest selling jersey in the league.
Yeah, it did. And I also think it was, of course, it was in, I think, is another, and it was mentioned last night. It was in, I think there's a lot of...
And that's something that's united Flames fans for 20 years.
Yeah.